So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a program which is going to calculate the area of this garden. And so we're basically going to create a couple of different methods to help us do this. So the first thing we need to do is to create our first main class. We're also going to create a class called add. And this is going to return an integer, or rather a float. It's going to take one float and another. And we're also going to create a method called multiply. So the first thing we're going to do in here is we're going to list the dimensions of each edge within our garden. So there are 8 different edges, and so we're just going to create 8 variables. I'm just going to assign different values to each of them. Now we're actually not going to use all of these, we're going to break down our shape into 3 different squares or rectangles. But at least we have this information if we need it. So the first thing we're going to do is, as I say, we break this down into squares A, B and C. Now we can actually find the area for square A by multiplying edge 1 and 8 together. If you press Ctrl space on your keyboard, Eclipse will actually help you by telling you what methods are available to you at any point. It's called autocomplete. Edge 1 and edge 8. Now for area B, square B, we're actually going to create a new edge, an imaginary one called edge 9. And that's going to be edge 8 minus edge 2. So that should be 6 minus 2. Now we already know the width of this area, and so we're just going to multiply edge 9 by edge 3. And I'm actually just going to copy and paste this rather than typing everything out again. Edge 9 and edge 3. and this is going to be area 2. Now for area 3, we're going to do something very similar. We've already got all of the information that we need, so we can just copy and paste that again actually. Area 3, and we just need to multiply edges 5 and 6 together to find out the area of this one. But we've not actually done anything with the codes for these multiply yet, or the add two numbers. So very quickly we're just going to do that now. So we're going to have these variables num1 and num2, and we're just going to add these together and return them as a float. So to do that, we just type return num1 plus num2, and we do something pretty much identical. We return num1 multiplied by num2. And so now that we have the areas for each of these 3 squares, we're just going to add them all together. Now we've got this temporary variable which is going to add the areas of the 2 A and B together. Now that we have this, we can go ahead and add on our last number, our last area. Just going to add these 2 on. Area 3, and we've already got this temporary variable. So if we print this now, it's going to tell us that the total area is 42. And you can see that we've got these underlined with yellow. And that means that we've not actually used these variables at all, because we've been able to find out the areas that we, or rather the lengths that we need for the edges from all of the other variables. So you could just delete these if you wanted to, but I'm just going to add a comment. And one final thing to mention is the fact that we've only actually used one line inside of each of these 2 methods, and we've used multiple lines inside this one. We mentioned in the lecture that we would aim to have about 10 to 15 lines per method, so we're well within that for these ones, but we could break this down more. Again, while we're learning, we shouldn't really worry too much about that, as long as we're making some conscious efforts to break our code up. That's the main thing. We're obviously not going to be writing code as optimally as we could do, because at the moment we don't know enough Java.